So here we are today, standing where the great civilization of the Incas once stood. It used to stand as the capital of the Incan Empire and is still currently the capital of Peru today. The city we stand on is 11,152 feet above sea level and is the seventh highest city in the world.
Yes, and it's so beautiful and ancient. You can definitely see the impact that history has had on this city and the influence the Inca civilization had.
Yeah, and you have to imagine that this place fluttering with people and was so full of life. It was such a unifying place, not only to nobles and rulers, but just think about all the women and girls who were drawn by the opportunity to weave clothes for the nobles and young men who could come here to be educated and finally return to their villages with the knowledge and education they gained.
The city was known as the Land of the Four Quarters because of the four sections the city was divided into. Each quarter reflected its section of the empire, and they would be inhabited by people of their respective regions. Because of this, Cusco was an embodiment of the power, strength, and culture of each of the Inca rulers and their section.
Yes, and there was a lot of political powers going on. And let's just take a look at the stonework. It's so pristine and smooth, and it's hard to believe that the masonry wasn't done with a machine, and that instead it was done with the hands and tools from several thousand years ago.
And what's even more of a test to their amazing masonry and knowledge of stone is that some of the stones curve inward and some curve outward. This allows for a nice fit between the stones while also allowing movement between them. And this helps make sure that the buildings and temples have room to shift a little in such a seismically active area.
And that's so much of the reason why the city is still standing before us today.
And speaking of stunning stonework and masonry, at the heart of Cusco lies the Coricancha, or the Golden House. This temple is the center for the worship for the whole city of Cusco, with its most important feature being the worship of the creator god Viracocha, the moon goddess Kia, and especially the sun god Inti, whom the Inca believed they descended from.
Located where the two great rivers of Cusco City, the Huatanya and the Tuyamayo meet, this beautiful work of Inca stone had these incredibly accurate radiating lines veering from it called sects, and they connected to shrines throughout the Cusco Valley.
And in fact, there were 41 of these sects, which lead to a total of 328 sacred sites all over the valley. It's quite stunning and impressive when you think about it.
And another feature that so defines this temple as important is how the stones, unlike the rest of the Inca stonework we've seen, has been smoothed in shape into these perfect rectangles, and the doorways have been double jammed. And this signifies the importance of the temple. It was then further covered in gold sheets to show dedication to Inti, the sun god. But unfortunately, in 1532, when the city was conquered by the Spanish, the Cor Concha was turned into the monastery and church of Santo Domingo, and the riches and jewels of the Cor Concha were stolen and melted down for money.
Another interesting detail is that the city of Cusco, as you know, was designed to be in a layout of a jaguar, and Coricancha was set in the tail. So it's no surprise that the second most important and sacred site in Cusco, Sacsayhuaman, is located in the head.
And if we move a little further up in the city of Cusco, that's exactly where we find Sacsayhuaman. It looks down upon the city of Cusco and is a massive site full of complex stoneworks. These stones located in Sacsayhuaman are far more behemoth than the ones that are used in the buildings and streets of Cusco. And you wonder how they were carried all the way up to this point of the city.
Well, actually, they were quarried and carried here using only manpower, and it was done with the labor tax that all the able bodied people owed to the empire. And it is still unknown what the site was used for, and historians are debating whether or not it was used for ceremonial purposes or perhaps a fortress.
And even more people argue that maybe the site was never even completed. The Inca Empire is still such a vast mystery to the modern world But maybe by having a further understanding of these great works and sites, we may have a better clue of what these ancient peoples were up to.